Hello Darts Nutz, welcome to Darts Review channel. I've got another set from Bulls Netherlands here, and bear with me, I might not get his name right, but these are the Benjamin the Star Pratnemer darts. I hope I got that right. But again, it looks like a nice grippy one for rear grippers, but there's also a little bit of grip on the front there, but looks quite a long dart as well. So let's check them out.
So the darts are only available in 20 gram in steel tip, they're 90% tungsten, they're in 18 gram in soft tip and retail fairly pricey, £83.85.
Right, so as you can see, it comes in this cardboard packaging, and you've got the Benjamin Pratnemer name there and a little bit of info on the back about the darts and the contents. Inside you've got a hard plastic case supplied, and the darts fitted into a point holder, and they come with the Bulls medium nylon stems, and you got the little spring clips and the Benjamin Pratnemer flights. Kind of reminds me of the old style beer bottle labels that you used to get. There you go. Darts fit with a black coated point. It's I think it's like a straight barrel variation style shape. You got quite a flat bull nose, and then parallel section with this very thin knife edge style ring grip, and then a couple of smooth bands either side of that. But I think that section is like a scallopy shark style grip, so it definitely does feel thinner there, and with those lateral cuts certainly feels more grippy. We'll see it better in the close-up just now, but it's quite a nice feel, that. And I'm not always a fan of a very thin dart, but I don't know, it just kind of feels nice in the fingers there. I think sometimes when the barrels are thin, if they have grip on it, I don't mind it as much, but when it's just like really thin feeling, it doesn't feel always quite right for me. But I'm not a rear gripper, so I'm not going to get much advantage from that bit anyway. But the black tie coating on, it's got an ever so slightly slippy feel on the smooth sections, but it doesn't feel too bad where the grippy sections are. And there's a little bit of that grip right at the rear there, so I'm guessing that the player grips it there. If I find a picture of his grip, I'll put it up on the screen. But it's quite a nice looking dart, and fitted with the Bulls medium nylon stems and the Pratnemer standard shape flights. So it's got quite a flat bull nose, just a slight taper to it, and obviously that section is smooth, but then you get into this very thin, like a knife edge style ring grip, so that's quite closely spaced and quite a long section. I think it's probably about half the barrel length maybe, and then you've got a wide smooth band, and then on the rear you've got this quite sharply angled shark style grip with the lateral cuts running through it, so that just gives a little bit more edginess there. Not quite sure, but it almost looks like it's got like a slight scallop shape to it, so I'll know better when I get the calipers on it. And then you've got another dreaded smooth section with the Bulls logo, and then on the end some more of that thin knife edge style ring grip with just a small smooth taper on the very end of the barrel. So there you go, that's the super close look at the Bulls Netherlands Pratnemer darts.
The darts fit with a black coated 29mm point. You've got a flat bull nose section, that's 5mm, then the thin knife edge style ring grip, 17mm wide, but that barrel section is actually thinner than the two sections either side, and a smooth band 3mm. Got the scalloped section which has got the lateral cuts, and again very thin in the middle, 16mm width, and then another smooth section 5mm, some more of the thin ring grip 6.5mm, small taper on the end 1.5mm, length 54mm, wide is 6.18mm.
20.13 grams. 20.10 grams and 20.11 grams. Full setup, 22 grams exactly.
So here's the balance with nothing attached, and this is the balance with the supplied setup. Not quite as grippy as I first thought, but it may depend on the individual, so I'd say 6.5 for the scallop section.
Let's give them a throw and see how they go. Just one dart at each double. It does feel fairly thin like. Kind of reminds me of the, I think it was the first set of James Wade darts that I bought years ago. I think they were 20 gram and I just didn't get on with them at the time at all. And in fact, I thought at the time it was probably the worst set of darts I'd ever thrown. But I think my throw was a little bit different then. Look at that. Double 20 and I didn't want that. Oh, that's two wrong doubles. Double 19 and double 20. Almost got double 18 there. It's like I'm going in reverse. Well, I've got the double 5. But I do quite like her bung nose like this. But I think it's the lightness and the thinness of the barrel that is probably not appealing to me that much. But it is only my first throws. So but it's actually flying through the air, not too bad at all. I didn't see any fishtailing or spiralling like I sometimes get with a fairly long straight barrel dart, so that was a good sign, I guess. I'm going to hold it on that kind of like scallopy razor style grip with the lateral cuts, so it goes a little bit thinner again because of the scallop there, but I wouldn't say it's quite in the middle. It's kind of in between mid and rear. Ooh, completely missed the board. That's just down to my dodgy throw at the moment. Nothing to do with the dart, it's just me. That one went a lot better. And that one was quite a nice one through the air. But it's not quite as grippy as I was expecting it to be. I think it's because the edges are not sharply defined. They look as if they're slightly smoothed off a little bit. Yeah, got one. I think if you're into your scallops and you're maybe mid to rear, then you'll probably quite like the feel of that. I'll try it right at the very end then. So a similar kind of grip right at the end of the barrel that it is on the front section. Ooh, a bit wild on that one. I think it's also getting used to the light weight as well. I almost feel as if I'm throwing it a bit too hard at times. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was painful. But I don't think it's a dart for me. But I think it's just mainly down to the lightness and the thinness, but didn't actually feel too bad holding it there on that section. So like I say, if that's where you hold it, you'll probably find that quite a nice spot. But if you like your thin light darts, I think it's probably worth a look anyway. I do like the feel of the bull nose, although I wish the ring grip went right up to the nose, and that'd probably feel a little bit better again for me. But it does kind of remind me, like I said, of those Wade darts that I first tried years ago. But I think these were actually flying better than what they did for me at the time. I know my throw has changed since then, but back then I couldn't get them flying at all for me. They were all over the place and doing all kinds of things. These were actually flying quite smooth through the air, so I was a little bit surprised with that. Quite a nice looking dart, but probably not one for me. So I was going to say I'll leave you with the gallery. I've got to remember I've not done a gallery. I'll leave you with a picture of the darts then. So see you in the next one. Happy darting.